In the movie My Own Private Idaho, the tragic weak one, Michael, who has narcolepsy and is a very unsuccessful male hooker, can hardly ever get any jobs for himself, um, is the actual victor. And the one who has everything in a can, the world on a string, Scott Favor, is the loser. He knows he's going to inherit great wealth and power, and he shows through the movie that he has no real loyalty to anybody but himself. And that, the deluded self-loyalty of the supremely selfish and egotistical. He abandons his friend Michael. He's troubled to do it, that's true, but he does completely abandon him. By the end of the movie, his wife, deeply in love with him, is really troubled by what she sees of his actions towards Michael, who was in love with Scott Favor, and also to an old man that Scott used ruthlessly to learn from and then cast aside like a boot, humiliatingly, so that the man ends up killing himself. We see two worlds, idealized. But the world that Scott visited was slumming in, and where Michael had no choice but to live, is a kind of idealized gypsy world, as gypsies are always idealized. And the world that Scott Favor comes from is, I think, rightly portrayed as ruthless, hollow, and cold. Michael's victory comes from his complete abandonment of himself to the mercies of the world. Just about everybody all the time would say, that is the ultimate fool's gambit. The world has almost no mercies. Michael has narcolepsy. He can't choose when to be conscious and not. At the end of the movie, he falls asleep in the middle of a highway through nowhere in Idaho. A couple of men come by in a truck and gleefully steal his boots and leave him there on the road. Another more mysterious vehicle, a car, comes up. A man gets out, picks him up, places him in the car, and drives off. It's in the distance. We don't see the face or very much about this man. To me, the way he moves and his hair very much looks like Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, who played Scott Favor, and who, until it was time to mount to his throne and assume his crown, because these are based on the Henry plays, did take good care of Michael. I think what the director is saying to us in this is that another better a better Scott Favor, a rural man, not an arrogant, wealthy city man, a humble, maybe poor, working class man, we don't know, not wealthy. Pick Scott up because that's the decent thing to do when you see a man lying in the middle of a highway in a wilderness. And he will take care of him better than Scott Favor ever could, because he has the right heart. Michael has abandoned himself to the world, like a jellyfish, as a jellyfish abandons itself to the mercies of the tides and the currents. Like the jellyfish, Michael does this because he has no choice. With his narcolepsy and his complete poverty, his total lack of skills, that's all the strategy he has to survive in life. To just go and see what happens. see what's done to him. Life happens to Michael. Life is done to Michael. Unlike Scott, he does not have the luxury of making decisions, setting priorities, going out and changing the world to fit his liking. His liking has nothing to do with anything, and he knows that. Consequently, he surrenders completely, abjectly to reality. This is what the Zen master does. This is what we all must do if we want the ultimate joy and security available in life. We cannot rest, W-R-E-S-T, our desires out of this world if we've been put in a certain situation, if we're like Michael, like me. The best we can hope for is complete surrender and generous terms. That, it seems, is what I'm being given. It'll never appeal to anybody who's got another choice. It certainly didn't appeal to me when I first saw it, but it proved to be my only choice. Throw yourself, I realized, on the mercy of the waves, the tides, and the currents, and see what happens. You cannot possibly mess up more that way than you have when you were in charge. I have a friend who thinks that life is about power. He leads a miserable life. He thinks he's a total failure. He has no children and no wife, and to him that is success. I tried to tell him that you can redefine success. No interest. He's stuck with the idea that you wrest what you want out of the world through your power. That never worked for me. There's a song lyric from the 70s from a band that he loves. So you ride yourselves over your fields, and you make all your animal deals, and your wise men don't know how it feels to be thick as a brick. And I would add, your strong man doesn't know how it feels to be weak as a jellyfish, and so he will never find the sublime joy and the ineffable success and victory of total weakness. I surrender myself completely to God and His universe, and wonderful things happen. It's the only strategy in life that has ever worked for me. It took me decades to find it. I'm glad I'm finally here. The adventure continues.